Okay, so today's training is we're going to talk about salads and dressings. Salads are a lot of fun to make, not only at home but in the professional setting. I like making them because everything typically is cold. So that gives us the opportunity to really think about what we're making, arranging it, where when we're talking about hot food and arranging a plate or a platter, we only have a limited amount of time because it has to stay hot. This way, we can really think about what we're going to do. So today we're going to make 3 salads. We're going to make a Mediterranean salad, we're going to make a Hawaiian salad, and we're going to make a Cobb salad. Now, typically salads are classified in 2 different ways, either tossed or arranged. Tossed is simply mix it all together, put it on a plate or a bowl, and you serve it. Arranged salad is what we're going to do today, so that takes a little more thought. That involves what are the components that we're going to use for this. And a salad is all about balance. So when we talk about a vinaigrette, acid and oil, well, we have to think about what the acid is, and we also have to think about what the oil is. We also have to think about what is the other components of the salad. Are they bitter? Are they sweet? Are they spicy? Are they crunchy? What are they? So we want everything to be in balance. We don't want everything spicy. We don't want everything sweet. Okay? So we're going to talk about some greens today. These are some of the greens that we use every day here. Spinach, okay. We have our baby kale, our romaine chopped, and then we have arugula. So all of these not only look different, they have different colors, and they also have different taste profiles. The arugula is a little more spicy, it's a little more peppery. The spinach and the romaine are less. This has a little more bitter taste. So when we're making a dressing, we have to think, okay, this has got a fairly strong taste versus this, versus the spinach, which really doesn't have a whole lot of taste, okay? So we don't want to overpower the greens. We want to have something that can match up to this arugula, so we can maybe go a little bit heavier, maybe a little more garlic, maybe something a little more acidic, maybe some ginger in there, okay? Now, salads don't have to have greens in them. We can use just vegetables. Panzanella salad, which we've done in the past, is just vegetables. Cucumber, tomato, there's some mint, there's some toasted bread in there, just like a Middle Eastern fattoush, the same thing. So it doesn't have to be greens, all right? We can have something that is just beans. We've done on our salad station. Grains, quinoa, bulgur, things like that. So it doesn't just have to be this, okay? So what we do want to talk about is the 2 different types of dressings that we're going to make. We're going to make a semi-permanent emulsion and a permanent emulsion. An emulsion is simply 2 things that typically don't mesh, mix them. So if you look at this cup right here, you have oil and vinegar. So the oil will come to the top. The liquid or the vinegar, could be water, would go to the bottom. So we can combine these in 2 different ways. We can combine them using an emulsifier or by force. So when you go home and you get a bottle of Italian dressing, what's the first thing you do? Shake it up. That's temporary. Okay? That will hold the molecules that are dispersed temporarily. So we want to shake it up, put it on our salad, dress it, and then we eat it. If we use an emulsifier like egg yolk, or mustard, or some sort of paste, like a garlic paste, that will bond these as well. Okay, that's a temporary emulsion. We're also going to make a permanent emulsion, which is a mayonnaise. So we're going to take a liquid, and we're going to take some oil, and we're going to bond it with egg yolk, and that will stay emulsified. Just like a hollandaise sauce. When you guys go out to brunch, and you get eggs Benedict, same thing. A hollandaise is fat and liquid bonded with the egg yolk. Okay, so I'm just going to put these over here. Just try to stay on this here. Just want to put these out of the way. Okay. So we're also, while I'm going to get these going, a lot of the different components of a salad. So we just talked about some bitter greens, some that are a little more savory. You know, there's also sweet, salty, crunchy. So we have to take those into consideration when we're making a salad. croutons, which we're all familiar with in our salads, isn't the only item that can be crunchy. We can take that same bread and make crostinis with them. In our Hawaiian salad today, we're going to use, for the crunch, we're going to use vegetable egg rolls. So there's another component in there, and those will be hot. For our example today, they're going to be a little cool, but that adds another component. What's terrible. Okay. So I've set up if you're doing this by yourself, I get a wet rag, I set it up here. I'll have my bowl right here, okay? So this one is just gonna be with no emulsifier. I'm just gonna put this in here, and I'm just gonna use as much force as I can, whipping this, breaking down the molecules of both the vinegar and the oil. So that's very temporary, okay? So I'm gonna put this back in here.
I'm gonna use a little bit of
Mustard. Can you hand me a spoon? I'm gonna use a little bit of this mustard in here. My emulsifier. When we're making a vinaigrette, ratios are important. Typically, it's going to be about 3 parts oil to 1 part acid, ballpark, depending on what you're actually using, what the flavor profiles are. That will hold a little bit longer. Okay. For one of our dressings today, and I'm going to do our dressings first. One of our dressings is going to be a mango ginger rice wine vinaigrette for our Hawaiian salad. So I'm going to use some fresh ginger, some rice wine vinegar. So I have 2 ounces of the vinegar. I also have some mango juice. This is going to help with the emulsification. Okay. Mold. Juices are great for making dressings. So what I'm going to show you when we do our supremes of oranges and grapefruits, as you're cutting those supremes out of the pith, we can also use that juice. So I have a little bit of mango juice in there. I'm going to put a little bit of fresh ginger in here. Okay. So I'm going to add my rice wine vinegar to this. And again, you can add really whatever you'd like to this. If you want to add cilantro to this would be fine as well. So I'm going to incorporate this. And then as I'm doing this, that's why I have this on something wet, so the bowl will hold. I'm going to slowly add in my oil. Now I'm using salad oil for this. On a lot of programs that you watch on TV, what are they always advocating? Extra virgin olive oil. Okay, extra virgin olive oil is great. It has a place, but not everywhere. It has a very strong acidic taste, and I don't want that to overpower or change the taste of what I'm making here. So I'm adding this in slowly so it will help emulsify completely, okay? Now, I may have to add a little more juice. I may have to add a little more vinegar or oil. And I'm gonna season this at the end when I'm done. So if you look at my vinaigrette over here, this is still held together pretty well, okay? So as you can see, it's held up pretty well, okay? All right, the next one is going to be mayonnaise based. So we're going to use this for our Cobb salad. Our Cobb salad traditionally has tomatoes, has hard-boiled egg on it, has chicken or turkey, has bacon on there, and has blue cheese. I'm going to make a blue cheese dressing instead. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the mayonnaise first. Okay? So I have my egg yolks. Mayonnaise is a little bit different. Mayonnaise is going to be 7-to-1. This is going to be 1 part yolk, 7 to 8 parts oil. Okay, I'm going to add a lot of other stuff to this, so I'm just using a salad oil. I don't want anything with a really strong flavor. So I'm also going to add my lemon juice. Stuff. See my lemon juice? Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to use lemon as our acid on this. And I'm going to add a little bit of water. What we want to do is use the yolk to bond our liquid and our oil. Incorporate some air into this. Now I'm going to slowly add my oil to this. This is the same process that we would do if we were going to make a hollandaise, but that would be 3-to-1. We would use 1 egg yolk for 3 ounces of clarified butter. Okay. So we want to get these a little bit frothy. You also notice the whips that I'm using are a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, balloon whips. They'll let you incorporate air into this, okay? We're gonna break it. So once we've made our mayonnaise, then we're going to add to this, we're going to add some blue cheese, we'll add some buttermilk, and we'll also add some sour cream to this. I think I might have broken it. So if we do break it, that means we're just going to add another egg yolk to this. Could you go grab me an egg and just put in take the yolk? Yeah, just one is good. I think that's quite okay. And these yolks, they are raw. They do come in pasteurized, but if they don't come in pasteurized, what we can do is simply coddle them, get a little bit of simmering water, and we'll put them in there for probably 3 to 4 minutes to help with the pasteurization of the yolks. You can also do this in a food processor. Your arms get tired the older you get. Thank you. So as you can see, it's thickened up. So what I did was I probably had a little bit too much liquid in there to begin with. So that's when you're doing these, you really should be measuring these items out, okay? But for our purposes today, this will be fine, okay? So we're gonna make our blue cheese dressing on this. So I have some buttermilk right here. I have some sour cream here and some blue cheese, okay? I also have a little bit of garlic, which I'll add to this. That sour cream will help thicken this up as well, okay? So when I make my mayonnaise, I'll typically make it with a very mild, with a salad oil, something like that, because I don't know what I'm gonna do with it from there. I may wanna add some roasted garlic to it, or whatever other flavorings, okay? So we have a little bit of thickness there. I'm gonna add some of the blue, I'll save a little bit of that for the top. And again, we're just kind of ballparking all this. So you'll notice, just look at the color. That's a lot different from the mayonnaise that we get out of the jar or out of the bottle. The one we have is like completely white because this is made with real yolks. Okay? Add a little bit of salt and pepper. And we have our mayonnaise. Can you grab me a ladle, small? Okay. Okay. So let's do our Cobb salad first. I'm using some tomatoes. I diced up some raw bacon just because I like the way it looks a little more uniformly than this. Okay. Our hard-boiled eggs right here. I have some chicken. You can also use some turkey. I'm going to use some avocado as well. Thank you. Okay. So now we have to decide, how do we want to serve this? You can hand me those platters right behind you. Okay. So if we're going to serve this for one individual, we will probably want to use something along the lines of this. If we're going to have a buffet, we may use a platter. This will also, depending on your shape, rectangle, somewhat oval, rectangle, square, okay? I also put this one in there. I don't like using anything that's not a white plate because it takes away from what you're actually putting on the plate. I always say when you're plating something or putting something on the platter, think of your plate as your entire canvas. This is your frame right here. This is the canvas that you're working with. So you want to showcase what is in the center of your plate, not what's out here. Plates with designs and things like that. Personally, I don't really like that, okay? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lightly dress the greens. And I'm gonna use the romaine for this one today. So should we do, let's do a oval pie, okay? This would be for one person. So I'm using something heavy here. This dressing is a little bit heavy, so I need a lettuce that can stand up to it. The structure of the romaine gives us that. The stalks are nice and hardy, so we can use this. I wouldn't use something like a spinach with this dressing because it'll fall apart, okay? And when I'm doing this, I'm just doing enough to coat the greens. Okay. Okay. Okay, always start a little bit light. Again, we just want enough to coat those greens. Okay, we can always add more, can't take it away. Okay, so I have my crostini, which is gonna be my crunch that I'm gonna have on there. I have my tomato, I have my egg. I'm gonna also use some of that blue cheese. I have my roasted chicken right here, bacon, and I'm also going to use some avocado here. That one's no good. Again, I know we like to sometimes cut these avocados in our hand while we're doing that, but always be safe. So again, I will use this for today, but it's not as, it's a little overripe for what I would like. Could you hand me another spoon, please? Okay, so now we have to think about how do we want to serve this. If we were going to do, say, a chopped cod, this isn't right, so I'm gonna take that out of the equation. So I'm just gonna work with these ingredients right here, okay? So I like a nice kind of clean plate when I'm plating a salad. So I usually will start with, say, and again, this is only gonna be for one person. So I might do something like so. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of this right in the center. So I also want to, remember, I want to have a little bit of height going on in here, okay? So I'm going to use one chicken breast here. And this out like so. A little of this. Okay. Don't necessarily want to cover up my chicken, and then I'm just gonna give it a little extra blue. So that would be our Cobb salad. Okay. So let's go ahead and do our Hawaiian salad. And I think we'll do this on a larger platter. Okay, so for this one, I think we'll do arugula and spinach. Okay, so now this would be for, say, 2 people or 3 people. So if we were gonna share this family style, I would use something like this. If this was going to be a buffet, I might use something that's as big as this cutting board. Okay, so there's our cod. Okay, so for this one, what I've done is I've taken some cucumbers, and these are just the regular cucumbers that we get here. I like using either an English cucumber because it usually is grown very straight, has a lot less seeds, or a Japanese cucumber. Now you notice there is some ridges cut out of here. So a channel knife like this will make a mark. We'll pull that out like so. I could use these to candy if I choose to. And then this could also be a garnish. So when you're doing your fish out on the line, you have just a nice little presentation right here, okay? So we're gonna set those aside. So I have some cucumber, I have some cilantro here. I'm gonna add that in with my arugula. I have some green onion. I toasted some coconut. This is mango. It's not as ripe as I would like to have it. So I'm gonna use that along with the daikon and the carrot in this salad as well. So I use a Japanese mandolin for that. Here, there's a flat blade. This is really a razor. And then we have the other blades that go in that will give you the julienne or the fine julienne. That's why I was able to get such nice thin strips like this. If this was a fresh mango, I probably would have done something different with it. I probably would have decorated part of the plate with it, but I'm gonna add this into it. So I have my arugula, and I have my cilantro. So we're gonna take some of this, a little bit peppery. Okay. And then I'm going to use my mango vinaigrette. Again, I'm going to start very light. I just want enough just to coat. Okay, you can see there. So now I want to think about how I want to arrange this because I have a lot of components here. So I have my cucumbers. I'll probably do something similar, put these maybe in the corner, like so. I have some vegetable egg rolls. These are my crunch. These are in place of a crouton. I also have a piece of ahi tuna. What I did was I got a pan very, very hot. No oil in it. And I lightly seasoned it. The tuna with some spices, and then get rid of this one. And then just sear it for about a minute on both sides. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do let's do our greens. Okay, so let's think about what we want to do here. This coconut will go on at the end, the green onion will go on at the end. So I want to showcase this tuna. So I may want to just go straight down here. I also have my other carrots and daikon here, so I'm going to put these two with my red pepper together. What I did was I lightly marinated these in a little bit of rice wine vinegar, a little bit of salt, but this is also going to give me some nice crunch right here and some color. Okay, so let's maybe do something like that. So again, we want to use more slicing tuna or something like this. We want a nice thin knife, very sharp. So as you can see, all we did was lightly cook the spices. We're not trying to cook the fish, we're trying to cook the spice. Okay? Let's use our crunch here. I'm going to cut these on the bias a little bit. I could just cut them straight in half, but this will give me a little bit of a different shape on here. Okay, so I can maybe add those over right here. Here. A little bit more of that mango. A little toasted coconut. a little bit of scallop. So again, then we want to make sure that we're looking at it. But now you have, again, with a cold item like this, we have that luxury of time where we can say, yeah, this might not look so good. We can deconstruct this and start over if we wanted to. But I would typically have a diagram of what I'm doing prior to this. And then our last one that we're going to showcase is our Greek. Okay, so that's our original. You see it's starting to slowly separate right here. So for this one, what I will do is I'm going to use lemon juice as my acid. And I'm just going to use olive oil this time, because I do have some strong flavors in here. I have the grapefruit and the orange, which is acidic. I have that red onion that's pretty strong as well, okay? And for this one, I'm going to use the spinach and the arugula. Do you have any of the other gloves around? You got them. These are excellent. After this video will be putting on gloves. Okay. So we have our red onion. I'm going to use cucumber again. I have some grape tomatoes. So what I did was I already did the grapefruit as a supreme. I have an orange, which I'll show you how to do that. Then I have some garlic, some feta, oregano, lemon, that olive oil, and then some Kalamata olives. Okay. I also put these here. These are the croutons and the chow mein noodles and the raisins that we use here. So really, again, sweet, crunchy, crunchy. When you're making this stuff, think outside the box. It doesn't have to be just a crouton, okay? Okay, so, break down my board. Any questions so far?
With that mayonnaise,
Yeah.
it's okay for it to be that raw egg yolk and like.
Well, again, we want to pasteurize it. Okay, so that would mean we want to get it above 144 degrees. So if we coddle that egg in some simmering water, the whites are going to cook first, and those cook at 142 to 148 degrees. So once those whites are really starting to gel, the yolks should be above 144
How you
degrees.
usually like do that? Warm the egg a little bit.
Just like you would do, you'd leave it right in the shell, like you were doing hard cooked eggs, but you wouldn't cook it all the way. Okay. So for this one, we're going to just do a little bit of garlic, okay, a little bit of oregano, and I could use some mustard in this as well. I'm just going to do my lemon juice. Okay. I think I would use a little bit of mustard. Okay, use a little bit of that mustard there. This is a truffle mustard, a truffle Dijon mustard. So that's also gonna add a little different flavor to this. So you can see it's already thickened just by using the mustard in there, okay? So if you were doing this in large batches, you could use the hand mixer that we have, or you could use the food processor. Oh, I left my pita bread in the oven. Can you check the oven? That's not good. Now with this Greek type salad, I've also used in the past stuffed grape leaves as another element of this. You could use a phyllo dough and make crisps with a phyllo dough. So really nothing is off limits when you're making a salad. You're only limited by your own creativity. Okay. So we have our dressing. Had my pita bread come out. It's burnt. Don't say it on camera. Bad? Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to use our spinach, and I think we'll use some of this kale as well today, since we have it here. So this will be for a just for one person. I like using pita bread. Unfortunately, I overcook mine. We can do those in squares, or we can do them in chips. Okay. So we're going to have just a little bit of this. These have already been pre-washed, all of our greens. You can see there's just a little bit on there. We don't want to flatten these out. I can also think about different ways of plating this. If I had another one of these rectangular plates, maybe I put the greens down here and place something off here. I think this one what we'll do is we're just going to go right down the center here. We don't have a... So I did some orange Supremes. I'll put these guys on last. I'm always thinking too, color. You know, I have a lot of different colors here. Even though I have green and white here, I got some nice vibrant reds and light orange and that red onion. Okay. Okay. So let's think about what we're going to do here. So again, I would save all this because there's a lot of good juice still in there. Again, I don't want to overload this with product on here as well. So I have that, maybe just a couple of these in here. A couple of cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes. I do these as thin as I can get them, the red onion. They are pretty strong. I'm just going to just add just a little bit on top here. And just a little bit of feta cheese. Okay. So these are our three okay. So we've done really three different types of dressings. We've done the temporary emulsion. We've done one with a juice, and then we've made a mayonnaise and added some cream and some buttermilk and some flavorings to that. Okay. But again, this was all items that were in our refrigerator here. So it's just a matter of thinking, hey, what would work with this lettuce? What would work with this dressing? Okay?